It's operations time on the Willow Creek Railroad. Welcome to this video highlighting the approach to operating through freight trains on the Willow Creek. Before we talk about the trains though, let's look at the overall operating scheme used on the Willow Creek Railroad. The track plan for the railroad includes 2 return loops that facilitate continuous running for display purposes. For operations, however, the Willow Creek is run as a point-to-point layout. The railroad runs from the major yard at Waverly to or through the river port town of Bucky's Crossing, with the Spokane staging yard at the opposite end of the railroad. Looking at that route again, the railroad operates from Waverly, running east to Bucky's Crossing, and then to the staging yard at Spokane. On our current operating schedule, through freight trains run between Waverly and Bucky's Crossing, and between Waverly and Spokane. In this video, we're going to look at operating through freight train number 12 from Waverly to Bucky's Crossing, and then a second through freight train returning to Waverly. Travis is assisting me today as our road engineer. The Waverly yardmaster has asked him to hustle his engine from the servicing facilities while the yardmaster completes makeup of his train. Before we started shooting video, the yardmaster had spotted a caboose on the departure track and then pulled cars from the classification yard to make up train 12. The train consists of 6 cars destined for Bucky's Crossing. Once his engine is coupled onto the train, Travis reviews his train order. The order shows that he's running a through freight from Waverly to Bucky's Crossing. The definition of a through freight on the Willow Creek is a train that runs between major locations without doing any industrial switching en route. Travis then walks his train. That is, he examines each car card that the dispatcher gave him for his train, and he makes sure that the cars in his train match the car cards. If he finds any discrepancies, he reports that to the dispatcher. Travis has checked his train and he's ready for departure. He now waits for the dispatcher to give him clearance to depart. The 2-aspect block signal at the yard throat tells Travis that the block leaving the yard is unoccupied. Once the tall dwarf signal turns green, he knows that the Waverly Junction turnout is aligned for his departure. Travis finally gets clearance from the dispatcher, and train number 12 works its way out of Waverly Yard. The train crosses Sarlot Viaduct and begins the 2% grade to Lookout Pass. Travis is careful to observe the automated block signals indicating whether the approaching block is occupied. A green signal indicates the block is clear and Travis continues upgrade. Train number 12 works its way up Latah Pass. And finally arrives at Lookout Pass, the highest point on the layout.
Dispatch, this is train 12, OS, Lookout Pass.
As Travis's train passes Lookout Pass Tower, he calls into the dispatcher and OS's his position. This tells the dispatcher the location of train number 12. He will do this as his train passes 3 towers on his journey to Bucky's Crossing. Train number 12 travels the reversing loop at the summit and begins its ascent towards Bucky's Crossing. The train enters Highland and crosses the Highland Loop trestle. At the Glacier Valley Tower, Travis stops his train at the yard limit signs and contacts the Bucky's Crossing yardmaster for permission to enter the yard. When the yardmaster is ready for train number 12, he sets the tall dwarf signal to green. Travis is then cleared to continue his train towards Bucky's Crossing. While Travis is headed for Bucky's Crossing, the yardmaster prepares his switcher to assist with the arrival of train number 12. The through freight rounds the bend of the Naugatuck River and arrives in Bucky's Crossing on the track designated by the yardmaster. When the train stops, the yardmaster coordinates moves with Travis. The yardmaster has instructed Travis to move his engine around to the back of his train and reposition the caboose. This is being done to prepare for the next through freight that Travis will take back to Waverly. Bucky's Crossing does not have any facilities for storing road engines or cabooses, so engineers operating through freights to Bucky's Crossing typically are assigned another through freight returning to Waverly. While Travis is repositioning his caboose, the yardmaster pulls the arriving cars and switches them into the ferry yard. These cars will go out on the afternoon car ferry. The yardmaster then pulls another cut of cars from the ferry yard that arrived earlier in the morning. He switches these cars back on the track in front of the station and couples them to Travis's engine, which has been spotted on the station track. Once the cars have been coupled onto Travis's engine, the switcher moves back to pick up the caboose that Travis spotted earlier. With the coupling of the caboose completed, the new through freight has been assembled. The yardmaster contacts the dispatcher for clearance, and the train departs Bucky's Crossing. Travis will retrace his route back to Waverly. The through freight passes over Marsh Trestle, and begins the climb along Willow Creek. The train passes Highland, sounding its horn for the grade crossing, and continues its climb to Lookout Pass. Again, the train passes Upper Meadows and climbs through Latah Pass until it reaches the reversing loop at Lookout Pass. Once the train has looped around Lookout Pass, it descends towards Waverly. Since the train is destined for Waverly Yard, Travis stops at the yard limits and contacts the Waverly Yardmaster. By the way, the hole in the scenery is where the Spokane staging yard track will eventually join the layout.
Dispatch, this is train 11, requesting permission to enter the yard. Okay, I understand. I will wait for the passenger train and watch my signals on my way in.
The dispatcher informs Travis that he is to hold his position at Sarlot Viaduct to meet a departing passenger train. The upper target of the tall dwarf signal shows yellow, meaning the Waverly Junction turnout is aligned to enter the yard. But the lower target still shows red, meaning that Travis does not have permission yet to enter the yard. The block signal finally turns red, indicating the block in front of Travis's train is occupied, and the passenger train makes its way over the viaduct. When the lower tall dwarf signal turns green, Travis knows that the yardmaster has given him permission to enter Waverly. The returning through freight enters Waverly Yard, arriving on the track designated by the Waverly Yardmaster. So there you have it, through freight train operations on the Willow Creek. I hope that you've enjoyed operations today, and as always, thank you for visiting the Willow Creek Railroad.